Hello, this is Sunil Sundaraj with njvarsity.rivals.com. I'm happy to welcome in DePaul Catholic High School football senior safety Joe Fano. Joe, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak with me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Hey, congrats, Joe, on an outstanding career there at DePaul Catholic on the football field. You've had some time now to just reflect on what you were able to accomplish there. What comes to your mind, first, Joe, about your time there in the Spartans jersey?
You know, um, Really was a great time. It's crazy how quick it went, looking back on it. This year definitely, it was definitely a very uncertain season, especially in the beginning of the season, not even knowing if we're gonna have a season. So I know a lot of schools and states didn't even play a game. So, just for us, very fortunate for this season and just my career in whole at DePaul, just blessed for everything that happened and happy to be there.
Yeah, it's a crazy year, Joe. 2020 with this COVID-19 pandemic. I had to ask you, once you guys found out that you were going to have a season, especially with the senior class and the rest of the team, and then once it hit the practice field, what was that like for you guys there?
Yeah, I mean, once we got word that we were actually having a season, we were all so excited, being stuck in your house for a couple of months, we once we got on that field, that first day was definitely weird, having to take temperatures, our first practice with all the protocols,
Yeah.
pods of 10. But everyone was just happy to be there. Even the coaches, they were so excited, to be back in action.
Yeah, I mean, can you describe that first regular season game and just being able to put on the pads, the jersey, and rush out there onto the field and kick off? Just talk about that experience, Joe.
Yeah, against Pope John, it was our first regular season game. So excited. The coach has said before the game, like every week was so uncertain
Yeah,
if the season was going to continue. So, every week, it was like you had to play every game like it was your last.
yeah.
And that regular season, the first game, I felt like we definitely did. It was like 31-0. Great way to start off the season. Everyone, it was awesome.
How difficult was that, Joe? Every week, I've asked players, you prepare, so you train, and then all of a sudden, game gets, canceled or, pushed back. I mean, it's not easy to adjust to those, right on the fly. Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, it was definitely crazy, definitely something that never really happens.
Yeah.
I believe we were supposed to play Don Bosco, and then the game got canceled. And then it was like, I want to say it was 2 days before, like we were supposed to play them,
Yeah.
and we didn't really have an idea who we're supposed to play. And they let us know that night who we were playing. And the next day it was really like a game plan. Had to
Yeah.
install everything in one day, and it was just go out there and play football.
Yeah. Uh, as a senior class, Joe, did you guys have any? I mean, was there any goals? Was there a motto going into this season? Trying to finish up on a strong note here. I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, as a senior class in a whole, we all just wanted to play every game like it was our last.
Yeah.
I felt like, we wanted to go out on top, we wanted to go out heads high up. So, I felt like we did achieve all that. I felt like we did have a very good season. And together I felt like the senior class was proud of what we did this season.
Yeah. I mean, can you talk about that the last game? It's never easy, to take that jersey off, play that last game, especially at home.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, as you said, it goes by so quickly. I mean, for you personally, Joe, I mean, how tough was that moment?
Yeah, it was really tough. I was super happy and fortunate enough to know that was like our last game. I know many kids, didn't even know it was their last game they were playing.
Yeah.
So, going into that, like even pre-game, I was just soaking everything in. Last time putting on that helmet, um, I could say 100%. Our team really did give it our all. I was so proud of
Yeah.
how our guys fought that whole game. But yeah, it was definitely heartbreaking at the end of the game. But just how it goes.
I mean, what is that, putting that Spartans jersey on, what does that represent to you, Joe? Wearing that the past, couple of years. I had to ask you that.
Yeah, I mean, we're representing the whole school, it's
Yeah.
it's our family. So, when you put on that jersey, you're not, we don't have like our names on the back of that jersey,
Mhm.
you're representing DePaul Catholic. You're not
Yeah.
representing yourself when you put that on.
I mean, this year, not only dealing with in 2020 with the COVID-19 pandemic, also head coach John McKenna's final season as head coach there at DePaul Catholic. How emotional was that, especially for the seniors and even the rest of the team? No, I mean, knowing this was going to be his final ride, I had to, just ask you, what you guys, what was your feelings on that as well, Joe?
Yeah, I would definitely say, our motto in the beginning of the season, especially with the senior classes, do this for someone besides yourself. Do it for Coach Mack. He's done so much for not just me, but like everyone. So,
Mhm.
and how long he's been here and what he's done for the program, and he made the program what it is today. So, yeah, we wanted to send him out, riding high. So I feel like that's what we did. One of the greatest coaches ever. He's
I
kind of
know. I was just about to say that.
one of the Bill Belichick of the conference. So yeah, he's one of the best coaches I ever had, definitely.
I know it was unusual. A limited amount of spectators, family in the stands.
Mhm.
Hardly any fans. Cheerleaders, marching band. There's so much. You talk about Friday Night Lights, or even on a Saturday afternoon during the fall. I mean, how you guys were able to just move past that, just play the game of football. But I'm sure it did. That made a difference there, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. We were fortunate enough. I think at every game, I believe we did have fans there,
Okay.
and I believe at a few home games, we're actually allowed to have a couple of the students come.
Okay.
That was definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't as loud and as crazy as it usually
Yeah.
was, but still to have those cheers in the stands, definitely got us going.
Yeah. Just talking about the competition, I've asked a bunch of players when it comes to the non-publics, whether Group 3 or Group 4,
Mhm.
but how intense these games are. I'm telling you, the best schools not only in North Jersey, across New Jersey, and probably across the country. Some of these
Yeah.
rivalries. I had to ask you, playing in those games against St. Peter's Prep, Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, St. Joe's, Paramus Catholic. I mean, you can now enter, Del Bart into that conversation. I mean, the way
Yeah.
they,
Yep.
performed this past season. I mean, how cool was that? It said just, I mean, to, be a part of those rivalries, Joe.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. I'll say it all the time. You're going against some of the best competition in the country.
Yeah.
So, to play against those big schools, especially, DePaul being a small school and competing with those big
Yeah.
schools and winning some of those games, definitely awesome. Before those big games, like we're all so excited,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I had to ask you, training was very different, for this season, especially, I'm sure a lot of Zoom calls, and then,
Yeah.
doing work on your own. I had to ask you, every year preparing for a season, and you know what? It stood out this year that how many guys were selected to the All County team, including yourself. Congratulations on that. How special that was, what that meant to you, Joe, with all the hard work you put in.
Yeah, definitely. That really meant the world for me. I truly put in a lot of hard work this off season, especially during when we were in lockdown and everyone really had to stay home. I would work out in my basement, which what I just had.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely awesome to see that hard work pay off, not just for me, but also many of my teammates.
Yeah, I had to ask you about the defense. Playing the safety position. Just with this defense, especially in your final season there in 2020. What just being with that group, Joe.
Yeah, being safety, you're kind of like the supervisor of the group, so
Mhm.
got to make everyone's shirt it right, in line.
Yeah.
Just playing with those guys, I felt like we had a great defense this year. I felt like we had a lot of great guys on the team. Um, I mean, we all bonded so well. It was truly awesome.
I know I asked you about head coach John McKenna, but I don't want to forget the rest of the coaching staff. If you want to talk
Yep.
about what they meant to you as far as your development, your progression here the past couple of years, Joe.
Yeah, totally. The safeties coach and defensive coordinator, Coach Sheed. I mean, I've worked with him since sophomore year, and
Mhm.
I believe truly that he's made me the player I am today. I think him and Coach Rogers, the cornerbacks coach there too. Um, I feel like they were the first two coaches to truly see, my potential and see how good of a player I could become. And they did that. I truly believe that at the end of the day, I became the best player I could at DePaul.
Yeah.
And if I went, that's the best I became. So yeah, those two coaches, I still talk to them all the time. They still text me all the time, asking how everything's going, how's recruiting going and everything. So yeah, I have a really good relationship with all the defensive coaches.
Yeah. Hey, can you describe before 2020 what every year, I said, with team workouts, as you know, it's 24/7, 365, Joe. I mean, you get done November, December, and then, a couple weeks later, you're
Yeah.
back, in the weight room.
Yep.
Can you talk about what those moments are like? Take people behind the scenes, even during the spring and summer, just leading up to, the regular season.
Yeah, definitely. So, after the season ends, you really get, I would probably say 1 month, to
Mhm.
yourself of,
Yeah.
not anything scheduled really. And then first week of January, you're right back at it with off-season workouts.
Yeah.
And then I would probably say from usually when it's like regular season, it probably goes until all the way till first week of June, right before, you actually start practicing.
Yeah.
And that's like 4 times a week, just, getting your strength up, putting on some weight. Just getting your body right.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, definitely a lot of preparation, and then, if you're doing something on the side with another coach, just personal workouts and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just leading up to it, then go right back into it in June and you're back at it like
Yeah.
5, 6 times a week. So
Yeah.
yeah, really in one whole season, you're only getting like 6 weeks off,
Yeah.
not including just like a couple of Sundays off.
Yeah. I think, you know what, people forget, it's a physical game, Joe, but it's also a mental game. It's like,
Yeah.
and that plays a huge percentage or portion into it. I had this, yeah, and then of course watching film and, as you said, working with your coaches as well. Can you talk about that, aspect of the game as well?
Yeah, I mean, especially for the safety side, and knowing, got to make the right checks, got to make sure everyone in front of you is right. A lot of film study goes into it.
Yeah.
I'd watch film all the time. I'd watch like every game of the season. By the end of the season, when those teams had like 6 games, I'd watch every
Yeah.
single one. I'd even ask Coach Sheed, hey, like I've watched everything. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you want me to watch or anything? And especially playing safety, that's what you got to do. You got to be like a film junkie. You got to know. You got to watch film. You got to know what the other team's about to do.
Mhm.
And then once you go out there, it's just all, you just go play football.
Yeah. I had to, you're coming off a outstanding, 2019 season, just spectacular what you guys were able to accomplish that there, ending up with, the win over Mater D Prep, SHI Stadium at Rutgers University, winning that non-public Group 3, sectional title. I had to see just that journey, that, what that meant to you, personally, Joe.
Yeah, personally, that season truly meant a lot for me. Starting off in the season, I wasn't even a starter. I only started the last 3 games of the season.
Yeah.
So, we did have a few bumps in the road during that season, but I remember all the coaches, saying, it matters how you play in November when the
Hmm.
playoffs start, and that's exactly what we did. Last week of the regular season, upset against Bergen Catholic,
Yeah.
which gave us the first round bye. Then after that, we defeated Donovan Catholic and then Mater Day. So, getting that state championship, is one of the best feelings in the world. I'll truly never forget that, especially at Rutgers with
Yeah.
everyone there. Yeah, it was definitely crazy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I've covered games at MetLife Stadium, but it was my first time covering at SHI Stadium there on the campus of Rutgers. And I'm just saying, playing, I said on a college campus in that stadium. And also, just can you talk about the vibe in the locker room, and of course taking the field as
Yeah.
well, Joe?
Yeah, I remember in the pregame we were actually in the like their bubble
Yeah.
like field, which was really cool.
Hmm.
I remember it being a pretty cold night too, but and we walked all the way around the stadium, went
Yeah.
through the entrance through the back,
Yeah.
and just running out to the field for that first time and looking up and seeing like the stadium and how
Yeah.
many seats there are, and yeah, it was definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hearing the fans cheer, it was definitely something I'll never forget. And especially too, we were kind of like, like the main event at Rutgers. We were the last game of like the
That's
season.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
was
a
awesome.
close game, went right down to the wire, Joe. And then you guys, I mean, won by 2 points. I had to ask you, once that final whistle went off, I remember you guys streaming onto the field, and, just the emotions bubbling over. It was just a great moment to witness. Can you talk about that? I mean, it just seemed like the air was like, I mean, you guys just let it all out. It was really again a very special moment. If you can
Yeah,
talk about that.
I'll never forget when we lined up for like victory formation.
Yeah,
Like I was like, no way, like it's crazy.
yeah,
I remember I was getting ready for just another defensive stop,
yeah,
just in case they got the ball back,
yeah,
seal up the game. And the offense clutched it up, got that first down, and then
yeah.
just kneeled it, and that was awesome. Yeah, I'll never forget running on that field.
It's great. I just have a couple more. Can't thank you enough for the time, Joe. I wanted to shift towards the school itself, the support from students, from athletic director, the administration, the town of Wayne itself. I know very different with remote learning in 2020 and still continuing, but previous years, if we can talk about that support from the school.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely think we have maybe one of the best student sections in the state.
Hmm.
When during a regular season, our stadium, our bleachers do get filled a
Yeah.
lot. Um, yeah, that's. I mean, the support around the area is, I mean, huge. I mean, I think everyone around the area and in Wayne knows DePaul Catholic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when we play those other big schools. That
Yeah.
place it really does get filled. We have the whole thing fenced off.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So yeah, I feel like even like the teachers and everything, they come to the games. I see them at the games. They're cheering us on.
Yeah.
So it's definitely awesome to see how involved our school and our community is with the football team.
That's terrific. As we know, Joe, it's just not about athletics, it's academics. And seeing that you have a 4.0 GPA, I mean, that is tremendous. I mean, how you've been able to balance it out, so effectively, because, I said between practice, between the games, as you said, watching film, so much goes into the athletics part of it. But academics, can you talk about how you've just been able to, accomplish that?
Yeah, I give a lot of credit too to the teachers and the coaches. I feel like they give you the opportunity to perfectly balance the two. I feel like you have enough time, when you go home to, finish all your schoolwork, study. I feel like the teachers too, help you possible. If you do need extra help after school or before school, academics comes first. The coaches always praise that. So if you got to go do that, the coaches will definitely let you. Um, and just having a good schedule definitely
Yeah.
helps. You got to have a good schedule during the football season. Our coach would always say like our players have better grades in season than off season because you're on a strict schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You have to be, as far as time management, being organized. I mean, that's the thing, being, between both, parts there. Uh, I had to ask you how the college process is going for you, Joe, right now.
Yeah, right now it's going awesome. I'm currently still undecided on where I'm going. Still looking at a lot of schools.
Hmm.
Starting to go on a couple of visits, hopefully. Um, yeah, hopefully make a decision sooner than later. Hopefully in the next month or so.
Sounds good. Can't forget about family, Joe. Want to ask you, parents, if you have any siblings, and just the support you received from them, before DePaul Catholic, and now, here in high school. Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, my parents and my older brother, Dominic, they've been my biggest fans. Coming to DePaul, I really came to DePaul for academics. I really
Okay.
wasn't for football,
Hmm.
and I really didn't even have a conversation with Coach Mack or Coach Kemp before coming here. So, yeah, they were my number one supporters.
Yeah.
Working my way to the top and until I'm finally starting. And playing. They were right with me since day one.
Yeah.
Cheering me on. So yeah, my parents and my brother mean the world to me. They've always been cheering me on. Can't thank them enough for like how they've done what they've done for me.
That's wonderful. I was wondering, Joe, when you're growing up, at, the sports you played, football, and then if there were any other sports, and then when you finally said, okay, you know what, football is something I can pursue here.
Yeah, I used to wrestle also in high school.
Okay.
I took a year off my junior year just to solely focus on football.
Okay.
I was thinking about going back to it this year, but it's kind of uncertain at the moment. I believe wrestling, so
Yeah.
I might just focus on weight room. Just getting my weight up and
Hmm.
become more agile and everything for football. But I also used to run track too. But yeah, I'd probably say ever since like middle school, I've slowly like narrowed down to like what I truly love
Yeah.
and what I believe I'm best at, and then I slowly stuck to football.
I mean, talking about the game itself, what makes it so special, Joe, to play?
Yeah, I mean, you're out there with 11 guys,
Yeah,
it's crazy. You have one job, you make one big play. It's awesome. It's
yeah,
just hearing the fans, it go crazy.
yeah,
It's definitely something. Some kids are just only built for football,
yeah.
so, you got to love it. You got to love the sport. And I truly do love the sport.
Still remember the first game at DePaul Catholic jersey?
Yes, I do. We went down to Malvern Prep in PA. That was our first scrimmage.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Just
Yeah, that was
yeah,
definitely awesome. Definitely seeing like our first team and how we played together.
yeah,
It was definitely awesome seeing all the guys that came from basically everywhere,
yeah.
play together as one team. And I remember, yeah, I think we crushed them. And just the ride back home was awesome. We're all so hyped and so excited. Yeah, and those players are like brothers of mine for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a true brotherhood, and these relationships will carry on through college. Past that, for life. Which is really is nice to see. I'm wondering when it comes to the college game, NFL, any safeties. Said that you sort of try to follow. Said Joe.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely love I'd definitely say I kind of compare my game to like Landon Collins,
Hmm.
Jamal Adams, Tyrann Mathieu,
Yeah,
those guys that could play up in the box a little bit, tacklers, could
yeah,
play all over the field. Yeah, that I can kind of compare my game to that, look up to those guys and always watch those guys and see what they're doing.
great. The final question I had, Joe, is that being a senior, I mean, here you were able to come full circle, pass down your knowledge, your experience. You have so much of it, especially on the with your attention to detail, watching game, film, being said a leader out there on the defensive side of the ball. What your message is, not only to the younger, uh, you know, players on the team as well, but also there are kids out there. You've seen them, I mean, Pee Wee Junior, playing, for a long time, trying to figure out, look, maybe one day I want to end up playing, for DePaul Catholic High School. Just what your message would be to those younger athletes.
Yeah, definitely. DePaul is the place to be. If you're looking for a place where great academics and wanna pursue football,
Yeah,
I feel like there's no other place in New Jersey where you get a better opportunity. You're coming to a small school that competes against the very best. You got the best shot of playing. You get a great education, meet a lot of great people, and I think it sets you up for the next 40 years of your life.
hey, sounds good. Hey, Joe, I can't thank you enough for the time. It's just been an honor and privilege, speaking with you. Congratulations on your success there on and off the field at DePaul Catholic, and
Thank you.
with upcoming graduation, and looking forward to seeing what you do in college.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.